Words, words, and many more words are being used to describe Liverpool's lacklustre performance at Old Trafford as Manchester United get their first victory of the Premier League season under their new Ten-Hag regime. Are they back? Are they flying? Well, Liverpool certainly aren't back and have no intention of flying anytime soon as they are still sunbathing in Singapore, apparently. That is right, someone's O had to go this evening, and it turns out they both lost their O's. Not like that. Manchester United got their first win of the season, while Liverpool got their first loss. That's what happens in football when the scores aren't even. Liverpool travelled to Old Trafford after a dominating display last season, winning 5-0, Salah getting a hat-trick, Keita getting involved in the goals. Do you remember when he still wanted to play for this football club? I don't. But watching that game last night, it felt like that result was so long ago. Obviously, Manchester United sacked that previous manager, got in a new one. There was a random German bloke in the middle of all of that as well. And the two teams' mentality completely switched. Manchester United ran really hard last night. They pressed high. Their counter-attacks looked dangerous. Their passing was sharp, accurate, and they were cutting through Liverpool at times. Whereas Liverpool just looked completely lackluster. Their attack was completely disjointed. The midfield was empty. And the defence was shocking. Trent Alexander-Arnold getting caught out of position constantly, being ran adrift by Marcus Rashford. Van Dijk with no intensity in the tackle whatsoever. Really odd defensive decisions by Van Dijk. And Liverpool have now got 0 wins in 3 games to start the Premier League season. 2 points down the bottom of the table, and they've got a lot of questions to answer. But first, let's talk about Manchester United, because it looks like they've had a very good week. They've signed Casemiro from Real Madrid, looking to solve that centre defensive midfield problem, the number 6 issue that they've had in their squad for a long time now, and there's not much better than Casemiro, is there, despite his age? But we'll see if he ages like a fine wine or like a child actor. We won't know. But now, getting a victory against Liverpool at Old Trafford, it doesn't get much better than this for Manchester United fans. But they have to be very careful of getting too carried away. There are still clear holes in this Manchester United side, and the team and the club needs a lot of development, both on and off the pitch. This is an off-the-pitch issue as well as the tactics on the pitch at this point for Manchester United. But all of these problems aren't just going to change by getting a win against Liverpool, despite how good it may feel for you guys. But that isn't the video to discuss all of those things. I think most people have ripped into Manchester United enough over the past couple of years. So let's focus on the game. It was a really, really good display by Eric Ten-Hag and his team, and it looks like he's 2-0 up against Jurgen Klopp so far with this English rivalry that they both find themselves in. Now, we know we can't put too much stock into a pre-season game, but winning 4-0 can't be underestimated, and now a 2-1 win when both teams should have their back up against the wall, looking to fight for every point that they can get due to a really disappointing start for both clubs. It looks positive for Manchester United, and it shows that they can fucking play football, as Ten Hag likes to put it. When they want to play football, this team does have potential to listen, to be coached, and to play well. It clearly, to me, is an attitude issue for some of these players. When they get put into deep waters like they did against Brentford and were challenged like they were against Brighton, these players clearly have an issue with that and maybe don't have the heart to dig themselves out of it as of yet. But they went out last night and dominated Liverpool all over the pitch, as much as it hurts me to say. They played it like the derby that it is and how it should be played, and they got the win that they deserved. Funny that. Now, I don't want to overanalyze Manchester United or make these rogue, bold predictions all of a sudden just because they've beaten Liverpool. Like, oh, well, they're back in the race for top 4. We know that there's clear flaws in this team and this club that need to be sorted out. But as of today, as of the day after beating Liverpool, Manchester United fans should feel positive. They should feel optimistic for the players, for where the team's going, and hopefully they start playing some more entertaining football that are along the lines of Eric Ten-Hag's vision. As for Liverpool, however, we can analyse them a little bit more deeply because they are the finished product. They're an elite team with elite players that have won it all under Klopp. And now, I don't want to allude to the fact that Klopp can only play one type of football, but I'm going to say it quietly. Something hasn't looked quite right with this Liverpool side since COVID. Now, I know that sounds mental because last season they were on for the quadruple. They won the FA Cup. They won the Carabao Cup. They played every game available to them. So how could there possibly be anything wrong with this side? It feels like Klopp is in the middle of a transition, in the middle of beginning a new cycle with this Liverpool team. And it looks like, obviously, with Klopp extending his contract, that there'll be 2 cycles of this Liverpool team. The one that won the Champions League, won the Premier League, and we're in cycle 2 right now. And this is when I sort of, in my head, think, does Klopp have it in him to really reinvent a Liverpool side that can win and achieve such high expectations that they've put on themselves? I don't fully know how to explain it, because they win football matches. They win a lot of football matches. But, for example, they've conceded first for 8 Premier League games in a row now. That's not normal for a team of this caliber. That's not okay either. That shouldn't be in the small print. That is a serious problem. And we saw at the beginning of the 2021 season that Klopp began this second cycle, and it didn't go particularly well. There was a long stretch, and yes, you could put it down to injuries, and I think a large part of it is, and this season we've got a lot of injuries, but it didn't look quite right. We were struggling to score goals. We were struggling to look consistent. We were leaking goals left, right, and centre, and it feels like this is repeating again for this Jurgen Klopp side as he begins this further into this cycle, now reinventing this attack with the signing of Darwin Núñez. At the beginning of the 2021 season, it looked like there was a plan there, but it was disjointed and it wasn't quite right, and it led us to scraping third in the end. It sounds mental, but we just managed to get third. I think after winning about 8 games in a row, we managed to get top 4 when it looked incredibly unlikely at around February time. I'm a little bit worried, and it's a very early shout, but I'm a little bit worried that we might be entering this phase again. This teething phase as we try to implement new tactics and new ways to play football. And it just depends on how quickly they can get it right. Because I don't doubt that Jurgen Klopp can get it right. But if you look at the similarities between that season and how we started this season, they're very similar. I really don't want to just waste another season. And I know you have to at times, and it's me being very spoiled in that opinion, but with the rate these teams are developing, Arsenal look so incredibly dangerous this season. They are becoming the final product under Mikel Arteta. Pep Guardiola's Man City look on another level somehow still. They look so dangerous with Haaland. And Manchester United aren't going to get any worse with Eric Ten-Hag. Liverpool don't really have any breathing room until they'll get kicked to the curb and they won't be one of the big boys anymore. This second cycle that Jurgen Klopp and this Liverpool side are on is nowhere near complete. Now, the positive is if we're not the finished article yet, and we had the season we had last season. But we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, that's my most positive and critical outtake on the game last night. It was a difficult one to watch, but Manchester United deserved it. They looked really good. They looked dangerous, and I'm sure they'll be wanting to play that type of football week in, week out. Thank you guys very much for watching, and some cool videos coming up for you guys. I'm going to try and produce some more content, so I appreciate you, and I shall see you